Welcome to my first audio review posted on element14.com on my Roadtest review. This Roadtest is for the SAMA5D2 Xplained Ultra Revision B. So I thought I would try something a bit different. I decided that I would take a different view on this review. I knew this was not a board that I'd ever had experience with, but after reading the comments on the Roadtest page, I decided that I would have my hand at it and attempt to partake in the Roadtest to see how it really was and if the views are shared throughout my process of learning this new board compared to those that have also played with previous Roadtests with the Atmel SAMA series of boards. I had a lot of fun with this board, and of course would love to thank element14.com and everyone that decided that I would be a good fit for testing this board. The great thing about being a part of this community is the honesty and the ability to give the manufacturers and other users our thoughts and reviews on these boards. If you found out a board was to be what you needed, but then read a Roadtest review stating that the functions on the board do not work as suggested or stated throughout the documentation, would you be grateful? That's why this community is great. Everyone is here to help and share. I decided to do an unboxing and video on this, and some blog posts. Here is the video of my day 1 and day 2 with the board. At this point, I'd like you to take the time to pause this and review the videos on element14.com, or check out the playlist within my videos here if you're watching it on YouTube. So I will say I do have more videos that I need to upload for this, but have been so busy with this board going through and editing things to make it not so boring and drawn out. I will also like to state I will be doing future projects on this board in the future. All in all, I think this is a wonderful board, but a bit above my head when it comes to usability. It is not a plug and play board like an Arduino or Raspberry Pi, but so much the opposite. In my opinion, it has been hours and hours of learning and playing. But to sum it up, I spent 20 plus hours just on connectivity issues to find out that there must have been an issue with the image on the board. As soon as I flashed it with the demo image with the SD card method, it started to cooperate with me and start to function as it should, so that was not the greatest thing in the world. Finding out that if I had flashed the board when I had gotten it then began, I would probably be a lot further in my actual testing of the board, besides just starting out to learn more on it. Now, this being said, features and functions on this board is abundant. There is so much this board is capable of, but getting it to the point of not just using a demo image or an image that has put up on the internet for sale to work with, it seems a bit unfair, thus making this a dream for those who want to make their own custom board and functions. To me, to get my feet wet more, I thought this was a bit annoying though, but not the end of the world. So after doing my initial test with the board, running a few things through the board, I still found I was only able to SSH into the board after I ran serial into it. Any other time I was unable to do so. Not sure if it is something that I am doing or if it's something that the board does. One big issue that I found with the whole ordeal was the lack of actual examples and actual code for the demos and products provided, which were third party. So to me, a lot of these boards that come out like this seem like the usability is quite steep curve to get around unless it's a board you've played with previous models of and you have done your own homework on it versus tried learning from anything online. Basically, your own trial and error. Yes, there is documentation online regarding this board, specs, and some examples, but nothing that actually points you in the right direction to make the most out of the board, as in the past, previous models have had similar issues as I have experienced on this one. Maybe this is where Atmel should be taking note and upping their online training solutions for people that are interested in their product. Now, this being said, I will be attempting to make some of my own projects for it, but will take some time and probably longer than I have to complete the road test. But now, spending probably close to 30 hours with this board in total over the past week, I have a better understanding of the board, which I will be putting together a quick start guides that don't suck. Just being honest, because what I have learned through this all is now that I'm 30 hours in and have lost a bit of excitement for the board. But that is fine now. It's on to the software learning part and creating my own images for its functionality for the projects that I would love to see it being used in. If you don't have time to get frustrated and have not used this line of board before, maybe pick something else, as really a lot of other boards out there with similar capabilities in the price range. I would, however, recommend this board to anyone. Yes, I do understand that I'm contradicting myself throughout this, as it was a very frustrating process, but once you get over the initial hump, which I'm sure others got over a lot quicker than I did, I managed to get this working on a Windows 10 and Windows Vista computer. I also used a Linux computer to try to do more with it, but have to learn more there, as I still am not a master of Linux when it comes down to it, but enjoy it. So back to the board at question. Now, I did get connections with the board with serial USB provided and over IP with SSH. Now, I did not go back to revisit my attempt in Linux to see if it was working now that I had gotten the image replaced and tested working on the Windows machine. This is something I'd like to revisit in the near future, as it seems the more you do in Linux, the more you will actually get out of it. I will say the software for Samba was completely useless, and only version 2.17 would actually work correctly for me. This being said, I attempted to use Keel UVision 5, so after downloading all software and images possible throughout this, I have found that the best solution was to just run the demo image and play with that. But without the LCD, it's almost pointless to use, so at this point, I would suggest to Atmel to include this in future road tests, or a bundled option, or incorporate an HDMI out on the board as well, even if it's a mini HDMI port. Many times I found myself confused at this board and wish I was able to get more in depth on it, as I would have loved to have been able to get something together as far as a project on this besides running the demo. I will not be showing that here, but in my video post I will, as I feel I need to go more in depth on each and usability. I've grown to like this board as I thought I would, even though it is not the most user-friendly board I have ever used. Finally, I would like to say that the board is great, and with the right materials available to database for people to follow and learn, I think it would be up the value of this board's integration into the makers or hobbyist project, as I feel I will be attempting many projects with this board in the future. But as stated, it will take me some time to get the full grasp of this board. So why would I want to put all the time into this board? Well, I hope if all goes well in the future, the same features and programs available for this will be integrated into future ones, but with more simple layout and functions, and works on a more plug and play concept. But I would bet that if I keep with this route, I would buy more upgraded and new boards that come to market after being able to use this board to its fullest capacity. Thank you everyone for the time. Sorry if I sounded like a broken record throughout this review, and I hope I touched all of the points I wanted to, so I could give you all a better rundown of the actual usability of the board. This is not a board that you're just going to make full use of unless you are familiar with the product line and have experience with their boards and programs, as I have a feeling there might be a similar end result with most of the boards. When it comes to the software, there's tons out there to get things going, but to sum it up, it was the connectivity issues in the beginning that really casted a shadow on this board and its potential to me. But after getting over that, I now have a board I feel will be a great addition to the collection and will get much use in the near future for custom projects. Thank you everyone for the opportunity. It has been a fun and exciting challenge to get this board to where I could actually get a grasp on it, and look forward to many more hours with it.